Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. I want to have a conversation today about women and money. It's Super Bowl Sunday, first of all, so all the men are watching football. Either they're watching football because it's not quite 6:30 yet; it's about 4, but they're preparing to watch. So we got a little bit of time for ourselves. Although there are some ladies who are out there watching the football game along with their guys, they'll catch up on this later. But for right now, it's me and you. We're going to talk a little bit about how money plays the role in a relationship and how it affects the dynamics between men and women, whether you're dating, whether you're engaged, whether you're married, whether you're divorced. Have been all three. Clearly, I was single. I was engaged twice. I was married once. I was married for about 15 years. And I am now recently divorced. So, I mean, money has had such an impact in each one of those dynamics. When I was single, I was so totally, I guess, self-sufficient. I didn't get married until I was 39. So I had a lot of years of living on my own, paying my own bills, putting money into my 401k because, we get caught up in the idea of my prince will come. And what if that doesn't happen? Right? I was 39. I mean, the clock was ticking and I had no real plan for how I was going to take care of myself if I didn't get married. Now, thankfully, I had a 401k at my job, so I was able to kind of put more money away. But there are a lot of women who sit and who are waiting, patiently waiting for a man to come and save them. And unfortunately, in these day and times, that may not happen. There are a lot of men who are not getting married, and if they are getting married, they're of the mindset that women have to already come to the table with something, right? That women have to already have theirs. They're not grasping the idea of being a provider. And that is missing in a lot of relationships. And some women like that. Some women feel like equality means that we're 50-50. I am not of that mindset, but to each their own. And I am not going to, kick dirt on anybody's belief system. Whatever works for you works for you. But I do want to point out that when you are in a single place, that you must take care of yourself. You must have a plan for your future. You must assume that there will be no prince who will bail you out. You must invest on your own. You must make a budget for yourself, and you have to follow it. When you are dating, so now here we go with dating. I implore you, ladies, don't commingle your money with somebody who is just your boo. Your boo right now may not be your boo tomorrow. And you're stuck with a whole headache of trying to figure out who owes what, who paid for what, who owns what. And there's not a courtroom in the world that's going to deal with it. I mean, divorce court deals with married couples, but there is no shacked up court. There is no court that's going to help two people that's shacking up divvy up all their things. The best you can hope for is small claims court, and even that's going to be a whole hassle and a whole headache if you don't have all your receipts and everything together. Please don't do it. Don't buy property together. Don't invest together. I mean, there are illegal ways that you can set up agreements if you want to do that, but most people that I know don't. I purchased property with my fiance before we were married, and that really impacted us during our divorce because one person's name is on the mortgage, two people's name is on the deed, or it's all in his name, and we bought it before we were married, so technically it belongs to him, or it belongs to me, even though we both paid the mortgage every month. And now how is that fair? So it was a nightmare, and my divorce took 4 years. 4 years, because it took that long to kind of untangle and straighten everything out that I had kind of jumped into, thinking that this was going to be a forever thing. Now, if it had been a forever marriage, it would not have made a difference. We would have made all of our decisions together and life would have been hunky-dory. But that didn't happen. And when you think about the statistics and that, over half of all marriages end in divorce, you have to kind of be realistic when you're going into it and say, well, how would this play out, say, if it doesn't work? Now that I am divorced, and I have accumulated a few assets on my own, it's time to have conversations with the men that I am dating specifically. And this is for most women who are dating after divorce or dating later in life after they've already purchased a house or after they have children, because there are certain things you want your children to have. If you have a house and you get married, if anything happens to you, you may choose to have your house go to your children and not, your husband who you may have just gotten married to. Now, you don't want your kids to kick him out right after the funeral, and you wouldn't want that to happen to you. So there are agreements that you can put in place, but on the whole, you want to kind of establish what things are going to happen to either one of you and what happens to your assets. That's a conversation that you have while you're dating. When you're younger and you're dating, it's the time to kind of look and see how the person that you're with spends money. Are they always throwing down the credit card? Do they pay for anything? Are they expecting you to pay half of everything? And that's a good indication of how they're going to be during the marriage. If they're going to want for you to either pony up for every expense, or whether or not they're going to take the reins. I implore the couples that I speak to budget together, to save together, to invest together after they're married, mind you, not before, but after they're married, so that they can operate as a unit. A lot of people who date and get engaged and get married, they still operate as single people after they've gotten married, which means that, one pays the rent, the other will Venmo them the money, or one pays the rent, the other pays the utility, or one pays for this, or when they divvy it up like roommates. And unfortunately, without a common plan, everybody is sort of in the wild, wild west and operating on their own. So you've got your own budget and your plan for paying off your debt, your car, your insurance, and then you're over here paying off your debt, your car, your insurance. Nobody is operating as a unit, which means that you can't grow together. Because believe it or not, certain things like insurance, maybe you can get a discount if the two of you were on one plan. Even with the filing of the taxes. And this is why you got to know people before you get into relationships with them. If you are dating someone who has tax issues, or who has not filed their taxes in a while, or who owes child support, or who owes back taxes, you will be in for a rude surprise once you get that letter back from the IRS saying that the money you thought you were going to get back has been forfeited, or that's being pulled back, garnished, not being given to you because it's going to pay for your new spouse's previous debt. So please date for data. Date so that you can get all of the information on your new beau before you say, yes, I will marry you, before you say yes to the dress, before you walk down that aisle and you say, I do. Make sure you know what his financial character is like. Does he like to pay bills? I mean, there are men who make money but just can't pull themselves to part with it to pay their bills. So everything is late, or everything just is not getting paid. Their credit is terrible. I would advise you not to hook up with someone who has terrible credit. I mean, during the engagement period, that's going to be a good time for them to get their house in order. And if they want to take on the responsibility of a wife and a household, then they're going to have to pull it together. And that goes the same for you, girlfriend. Get your house in order. Be the person that your spouse is looking for. I tell that to the men and the women. Men, be that man that a good woman is going to want to be with. And women, be that good woman that a good man is looking for. That's the only way that you two are going to meet each other, and that you're going to have a meeting of the minds, and everybody is going to be on one accord. I'm not dragging you. You're not dragging me. I'm a Pisces. I have a propensity to like struggle men for whatever reason. I don't know why that is, but I attract them like flies. Everybody that I meet has a problem. There's always some issue. And I mean, this is why it takes me so long to find somebody. I don't know if that's just Pisces, or if that's just something in my DNA that attracts people who need a lot of work. But I don't know. I think I'm digressing here, because that's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is to make sure that you actually have your house in order, and that you know what you're getting into with the people that you meet. For the ladies, do not hitch your wagon to a man who has wildly different expectations of married life and of financial married life than you. If you're going to be going out to work every day and he's going to be sitting home playing video games or hanging out with his guy friends or doing a whole lot of nothing, know that that's what you're going to be signing up for, to take care of someone for the rest of your days, because it doesn't get better once you're married. It really, really doesn't. Make sure you understand what their earnings potential is. Make sure you understand what their spending habits are. Make sure that you're clear on how the kids will be taken care of. If they want to pay for, I had a huge argument with my son's father because I wanted to send my son to Catholic school. And he didn't necessarily think that the expense was worth it. I felt like it was a great opportunity to give my son an education that had some faith basis to it. And he just did not see it. And so if you're dealing with someone who has those views, then it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a constant struggle. We know that money and sex are the two biggest reasons for divorce. That's what couples argue about the most. So the more you know, the more you understand what you're getting into, recognizing that you're not going to be able to change someone once you marry them. They assume that they're going to be who they are for the entire marriage, and see if you can work with it. Sometimes you can encourage them to get into your good financial habits, but sometimes you can't. And if you can't, now you can't get mad at somebody because they're not the person that you wanted them to be. Unless they told you that they would and then they decided not to, which is usually not the case. Usually people show up as who they are and they do not change. So just make sure that you're okay with that, and make sure that you can move forward as a unit, as a duo, ready to take on the world, being that power couple that you want to be, and that one of you is not dragging the other and you end up frustrated and on your way to divorce court before the ink is dry on your marriage license. All right, ladies. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that this, if you see yourself in this, then you will kind of take steps to get some questions answered, to come to some agreements, to have the conversations that you may not have had, and to understand that person who you are in love with and that you want to build a life with, so you can understand the kind of life that you're helping to build brick by brick. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. Don't eat too many wings. Don't eat too many nachos, because you know tomorrow's Monday and we'll be at the gym again. Hope you're having a great weekend. Bye.